Aloha, it's Julen with Finding Your Fiji, and I'm back with video number 2 in the Removing Your Blocks to Flow series. If you missed video number 1, there's a link to that below. That is the 7 things that may be blocking your flow. And it's kind of important to watch that one first because you'll need to identify what's blocking your flow to get the most out of today's video. And today I'm going to be addressing ways to clear the 7 specific blocks to flow that I talked about in video number 1. And then in the next video, I'm going to be sharing how to use the 5 Feng Shui elements to create even more flow. Okay, so let's get to clearing your blocks, shall we? First, so this is block number 1. And as a reminder, block number 1 is squirrels or distractions. You first need to make a decision to change your habits in order to clear this block. Because if you're going to keep doing the same things that you've been doing, nothing's going to change, right? We call that insanity, continuing to do the same things and expecting different results, right? So first, pay attention this week to the things that you are doing out of habit and how they make you feel. Okay, so that's the really key important piece to this is how does the things that you're spending your time on make you feel? And then you need to decide to release the things that lower your vibration or significantly limit the time that you're spending doing them. Okay. The second thing to release this block is to create focused time to do the things that uplift you, right? So this means that you're only doing one thing at a time. Ladies, we are not multitasking. This is one thing at a time we're going to focus on. So if you're working, put your phone on silent or put it in another room. If you are having trouble doing the focus time, one thing that I found recently that works for me is setting a timer for 45 minutes. And I work on one thing during that 45-minute time period. So I'm not checking email, I'm not doing other things. I'm working on the one focused thing. And then when the timer goes off, you can spend the 15 minutes of the rest of the hour doing other stuff. You can take a break, you can check your email, you can check your phone, all of those kind of things after that 45-minute time is up. And the reason I really resonate with the 45 is, of course, 45, 4 plus 5 equals 9. So it's got that 9 energy to it. In Feng Shui, 9 is about reaching new heights and it's about success. So I really like that, using that 45-minute chunk of time to focus. And then also when you're doing just menial things like folding clothes or doing dishes, just do that. Really focus on what you're doing. And I actually feel like, especially with folding clothes, that it's kind of a meditation for me because I'm just spending that time. I'm able to, just be present with the clothing that I am folding or the dishes that I'm washing. So, treat it as a meditation. And then when you are with your family and friends, and this is kind of a pet peeve when I go somewhere and I see everyone on their phones, they're not interacting with each other. So put your phone away when you're with friends or family, and talk to them, actually talk to them, right? There's nothing urgent that's going to come up on your phone. If somebody urgently needs to reach you, they are going to call you and you will hear your phone ring. So you can take that time to just be with the people that you're with. So that's block number 1, clearing block number 1. Clearing the block of people is the second thing that we talked about in the last video. And by now, hopefully you've identified which people are blocking you, right? So remember, these could be people that are complainers, they're gossipers, or maybe they're drama queens. They attract a lot of drama into their lives constantly. And life is never really smooth or easy or peaceful for them, right? The question that I get a lot, what if these are people that I need to interact with, like their clients or their family? If they're clients and you're self-employed, remember that you get to choose who you're working with. And so one of the things that I do with my Love Your Life program is I do talk to the people that are considering joining the program to see if they're a good fit energetically for the group, because the group has an energy to it. And I want to maintain that sacred space, right? And so I don't accept everyone into the Love Your Life program. So and that's my choice. I get to do that, right? One of my friends who is an attorney gives herself a gift every Christmas by firing her least favorite client. And you might think, well, that sounds kind of harsh, but if it's someone that was a pain in the rear that you don't enjoy working with, then why are you continuing to torture yourself with that person, right? Let them go. And the cool thing about that is when you do that, when you release people that are not a good fit energetically, that you don't want to swirl with, it opens things up and it tells the universe, your angels, your guides, that you want more of the people that you enjoy working with and the people that you enjoy swirling with, right? And it will send you more of those kind of people. And it also sort of creates that vacuum. So what do you do to clear this block of people or the static of people in your life? Number one, consider eliminating these energy drainers from your life. I know that sounds harsh, but sometimes that's what you need to do. And I've had to do that in the past where I just energetically couldn't handle having a person in my life anymore. And I shared with them that it wasn't working for me at this time. And maybe in the future, things would open up or it would work for me again. But right now, it just isn't working for me. And there's a lot of different ways that you can share that depending on what the relationship is, right? So consider eliminating those energy drainers from your life, or limit the amount of time that you spend with them. And this does take planning, right? So if you are going to see a friend that's a constant complainer, do a coffee date instead of lunch where you're just going to be with them for maybe 30 minutes or maybe an hour max, right? And have an appointment that you have to go to right after so that you have a reason to leave, if you will, that protects your time and your energy. So third thing that you can do is stop complaining yourself, because when you're complaining a lot, you're going to attract more of those complainers to you, right? So catch yourself when you're doing this. The fourth thing that you can do is stop gossiping, stop talking about other people. Again, it's an attraction thing. So if you stop doing that, you're going to stop attracting people that do that as well. And then the last thing that you can do to clear the block of people is to stop focusing on what is wrong. Again, people that are what I call drama queens are addicted to drama because the drama helps them feel alive, right? So they get addicted to that sensation or that feeling. But they're always focusing on what's wrong. And you'll notice when something happens for them, they make a big deal out of it. They make it as big as they possibly can, right? So stop focusing on what is wrong in your life and maintain focus on what's going right or what the gift is in a situation. Maybe you met somebody new when you got a flat tire or whatever it is, right? So focus on what's right versus what's wrong. Okay. Third block is the block of energy. And this one, I want to share a story with you about something that happened for me. Those of you that are from Minnesota might remember the art crawl in St. Paul. The buildings in downtown St. Paul are often very old. They have these lofts, and the artists open up their lofts for people to come and view and purchase their art, right? So I was at this art crawl with some friends. We were in a building, probably fifth or sixth story. We'd been going into the different lofts, and there was a loft that was in the corner. We went in, and the woman, the artist, was dressed all in black. She had actually covered the windows with black curtains, which was really unusual because normally the artists like to have light coming in, right, to be able to show off their art, but she had covered hers with black. And her paintings were just very dark and almost looked like blood splatters on them. I walked into the space and I immediately felt something. You know, I had this look on my face, and my friend was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, no, I need to get out of here because I could feel this energy, right? And so we got out of there, walked to the other end of the hall, and I literally couldn't stay standing. I had to sit down. I was feeling like I was going to faint or throw up or both. The energy there made me feel so sick. And of course, I called in my angels and guides to help me clear the energy, first of all, from me. And then I also tuned in to see what that was about. And they shared with me that there was an entity or a ghost or what have you that had attached itself to that property. And when that happens, a lot of times that ghost or that entity's energy will get infused with the person that lives there. And that's what had occurred. So I asked the angels to assist in clearing that out and to clear the space of that spirit. And specifically Archangel Azrael helps spirits cross. So I asked for that as well. One of the things that you can do, and this is something that I did in that specific moment, is to just brush the energy off you. So act like you're just, sort of brushing some crumbs off of you and just brush the energy off you. So if you feel like you've picked something up or you feel off after you've been around somebody or you've been in a space, you can just brush it off of you. Okay. So that's a quick thing that you can do to clear the energy. So besides brushing that off, if you have access to sage or Palo Santo, you can of course clear yourself with that. There's essential oils that help with clearing energy fields, flower essences, that type of thing as well. And then for those that are registering for my upcoming masterclass, I'm going to be sharing my meditation to help you clear energies. That's a really powerful way to clear energy blocks. So if you haven't registered for that yet, make sure you do that because you'll be able to get another powerful tool for clearing that you can use. There's a link in the description below for that. Okay. So the fourth block, the C inspector, is the block of clutter or physical things. Clutter can be kind of challenging because you might not have the energy to remove it, yet not removing it further drains your energy. What I want to say about that is it's worthwhile to spend time cleaning and decluttering because it pays big dividends energy-wise. So if you can get yourself to just get started doing it, that's going to be really helpful. I've been doing a lot of decluttering lately. I go through phases, right, where I do more, right? And I'm going through different areas in the home. I did the kitchen, which was amazing. I'm working on the bathroom now, and I love it. It feels so good, and it's just fun for me. I really enjoy that kind of thing. But I know there's a lot of you that don't enjoy that. So a couple things that you can do as you're decluttering. You can ask yourself 3 questions, which will help you decide whether to keep something or release it. So you have to be able to answer yes to at least 2 of these questions. The questions are this. First question, do I love it? Do you absolutely love this thing? Is this something that just lights you up? You really enjoy it. You love the way it looks. You love how useful it is, whatever it is, right? Do you love it? Second question, do you use it? So do you actually use it, right? Is it serving you in some way? Is it serving you in a positive way? And then the third question, does it raise your energy? So things that make life easier for you definitely would raise your energy, right? They would raise your vibration. If it's something that makes your life easier, that could definitely qualify for that. So as an example, you might have a dress that you purchased like 10 years ago, and it never quite fit right. Maybe you love the color, maybe you really loved it when you got it, but it just never quite fit right. So you got some joy when you purchased it, but you haven't worn it, or you very rarely wear it because every time you go to put it on, it just, something about it, it emphasizes a part of your body that you don't love or whatever it is, right? I can guarantee that when you look at that dress, in the closet hanging there, it doesn't feel good, right? So release it, let it go. And this can happen a lot of times when we're in the midst of trying to lose weight, where we're like, oh, I want to keep these things, right? Make it a reward for yourself when you lose the weight to buy some new clothes, right? You don't have to keep the stuff. I mean, if there's a super favorite outfit that you used to wear all the time that you really, really love, keep one of them, right? Keep that outfit maybe, but let go of the rest. And of course, the other thing is you keeping this is preventing that object or that item from being used by someone else. Someone else will really love it. They will wear it. It's not doing anyone any good to be just hanging in your closet, right? So release, 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 release. And you can also work with the success energy of the number 9 by spending 9 minutes a day decluttering. You can do 9 minutes. Anybody can do 9 minutes. I don't care how much energy you have, you can do 9 minutes. So set a timer, 9 minutes a day, declutter one area, one tabletop, one dresser, one drawer, whatever that might be, right? Or you can release 9 things a day. And these don't have to be big things. It could be pens that don't work, paper, anything that you come across that you're just like, why am I keeping this, right? If it doesn't answer 2 out of 3 of those questions, then it's worthwhile to let it go anyway. So releasing 9 things a day can be really, really good. And then of course, as I mentioned in the last video, if you do need help clearing clutter, I've got a course, link is in description below. Okay. Inspectors, our acronym for the things that can be blocking your flow. We're now on the T, which is the block of thoughts. And this is actually one of my favorite blocks to work on because our thoughts become beliefs and our beliefs become experiences in our life. So there's a real ripple effect from what we're thinking to what we believe to what happens in our life. And so you can find some really big shifts by eliminating this block of your thoughts. Meditation can for sure be helpful with this, right? It can be helpful to quiet the mind, but sometimes there's thoughts that are pervasive and they come up again and again and again. And focusing on allowing those thoughts, which is, sort of a whole process, shifting those thoughts, diffusing those thoughts because they're unhelpful, will keep them from manifesting in your life as experiences, right? And it removes the static that they create. So one technique that I really like for this is naming the thought. And there's a couple different ways that you can use this technique. So instead of owning the thought as yours, you can state, I'm having the thought that. So that means you're not owning the thought, you're just, I'm having the thought that, okay? And using that phrasing gives you the awareness that this is just a thought. It's not who you are, okay? And for example, so if you find yourself saying, I'm so indecisive, or I'm always late, you can say instead, I'm having the thought that I'm so indecisive, pulls it away from you, right? Or I'm having the thought that I'm always late. Okay, that's one way to use naming the thought. The other way to use naming the thought is by giving it a title. So you can have a thought that comes up for you again and again, and you can be like, oh yeah, whenever that comes up, this is the I'm a mess thought, right? So you're giving it a title, but again, you're removing it from you when you're giving it that title. Or something else might come up and you'd be in that space of, oh, I know, you're the I'm never going to be successful thought, right? So you're identifying it as something that's outside of you. It's out here. I'm the never going to be successful thought is out here. It's not connected to you. So it sort of removes it. So both of those thought processes, naming the thought, places you in the mode of observer. So pulls you out of it. So it's the person looking out of your eye that is observing that you're having a thought, that you're not actually indecisive, that you're not always late, and that you're not a mess. And it shifts the energy around the thought while bringing awareness to it, which allows you to acknowledge it and acknowledge that it's not who you are. And there's lots and lots of different ways to acknowledge thoughts, to shift thoughts, to diffuse unhelpful thoughts. I cover all of that in my Love Your Life program, but those are a couple nuggets for you today. Okay, next block to clear is environment. And this is a lot of Feng Shui considerations, and I literally could talk for weeks on Feng Shui or environmental blocks. So in the last video, I mentioned a few ways your environment may be blocking your flow, including door issues, stair issues, where your home is located, arrow chi. And today I'm going to share how to remedy what we call in Feng Shui arrow chi, or arrow energy, or poison arrows. These can be inside or outside of your home. So let me just give you a real life example of this. I had a client who had her desk facing the door. So she was in command position, so she could see who was coming in the door. But the way the door was situated in relation to her desk created an arrow aiming at the doorway. And what was happening for her is she was a manager, and employees didn't want to talk to her. They felt uncomfortable coming into her office. And that's because there was this arrow energy aiming at them as they entered her office. So of course they're going to feel comfortable. So I had her move her desk, still remained in command position of the space, but I had her move her desk, and instantly things changed. People wanted to come in, they were willing to talk to her, they just got along better. There was so much ease when that poison arrow block was removed. Okay, so I've got on the screen an example of indoor arrows and outdoor arrows. So the one picture on the left shows an arrow that's created by sauna in a bedroom, and the arrow created by the corner of that sauna aims at the bed. You can't really see that in the picture, but it does aim at the bed there. And so that creates an arrow energy at the bed, which we don't like. We don't want arrows aiming at us when we're in bed, where we sit at our desk, or where we maybe even cook at the stove, or where we sit to relax. We don't want arrows aiming anywhere that we sit for any length of time, right? It just is going to feel uncomfortable. And it can actually, in the case of a bedroom, can cause health issues, right? So that's one example of an arrow inside. In the second picture, a wall that comes together can create an arrow. And in that case, it's a chiropractic office. Patients get adjusted there, and there's an arrow aiming towards that area. So it needs to be remedied. And I'm going to share in a moment how to remedy that. And then the other pictures that are on the right, the first one shows a building, the corner of a building. And that could be, anywhere that is aiming towards your home or your office. That would create poison arrow or an arrow chi for you. And then the last picture on the far right is actually a client of mine, and they had a neighbor's garage that created an arrow aiming at their home. And it was interesting because they didn't get along with this neighbor. This neighbor was not very nice to them. Whenever they would talk to them, they just were very off-putting. The remedy that I recommended for that particular case is I had them place a gazing ball. It's round, it has a reflective surface on it, and they placed a gazing ball between their home and that corner of the garage of the neighbor. And another interesting thing that happened with that is that gazing ball actually broke. So when a cure or Feng Shui adjustment breaks, that took a hit for you energetically. Something was coming towards you, and it took that hit or that energy for you, right? And so what you need to do then is to purchase another cure. This can be a similar kind of thing, but it needs to be bigger or more expensive, right? And that then solidifies that energy again. And so she did. She bought another gazing ball that was more expensive, and that did the trick. the neighbor then became super nice, was very friendly. Like it was almost like it was a different person. It was very different energy that happened there. So you have a couple different ways that you can remedy these blocks. So to remedy the environmental block of an arrow inside, you can hang a small round crystal. 20 millimeters is what I usually recommend for this. That is round, faceted, and contains 30% lead. You would hang that between your bed or your desk or your stove or wherever you regularly sit and that arrow spot. So that's one way to do it. You hang it from the ceiling. It has to hang freely. It can't be up against a wall or anything like that. So that's one way to remedy that. Or you could place a plant in front of it, like the picture on the left. They place some silk flowers in front of it. That works as well. If it's a dresser or a shelf, something like that, you could actually put a cloth over the top of it so that that arrow is sort of covered, right? And then all of these things soften or disperse that arrow energy for you. And then outside, to remedy that outside arrow, again, you could use a crystal. If there's a spot where you can hang it on the eave of the house, you could hang a crystal between your house and the offending arrow. Could be a telephone pole. It might not be somebody else's house. It could even be a telephone pole. Or you could place anything round between the arrow and your home. So as in the case of the gazing ball, that's something round. You could also use a round bird bath. That's something round as well. So there's different ways to do that. You can get creative about that as well. There's a lot of ways that your environment might be impacting you and blocking your flow that you might not even be aware of. And all of these are covered in my Love Your Life group coaching program for women. On the next video, we are going to be working more with clearing the blocks of the environment as we look at the 5 elements, because there's different things that we can do using the elements of Feng Shui to unblock your flow as well. So the last block with the specter is the R, and that is realms. And just a reminder, realm blockages include unseen energies like predecessor energy, ghosts, EMFs, that type of thing. And some of these blocks can be remedied through a space clearing. And if that's something you feel like you need help with, I've got a link to that below. I do offer this service remotely. It's really, really powerful. There's several angels that get anchored in the space, and it is really, really powerful. So if you need help with that, reach out to me. However, I do want to share ways that you can clear 2 forms of blocking realm energy yourself. So the ghosts or the spirits can be a little bit tricky depending on what you're experiencing. But the tip I want to give you around this is being mindful of antiques or used items, because ghosts may follow objects. If it's something that they really liked when they were alive, they will hang around it. They'll stay with the energy of that if they haven't crossed over, and they can make themselves at home in your house, right? When you bring that object in, they come in with it. So to prevent this from happening, you can leave the item outside for several days if that's practical and easy to do, or you can clear it using sage before you bring it home. There's another effective tool that I really, really like for clearing items that I bring in to my home, and that is quantum energy rings. These rings are made in Minnesota by a friend of mine, and they can actually also be used to clear spaces or create positive vortexes in your home. There's a lot of different uses. The energy field they connect to helps raise the vibration of an area or a room. So you can actually kind of move it around your house, if you will. And the sizes of the rings are created based on ancient Egyptian knowledge of the cubit measurements, and they're made with 100% copper which is an element that anchors the activation of the ring. So super powerful. Energy rings can help not only with clearing physical objects and spaces, but they can also help you sleep better. They can protect you from EMS and geopathic stress and negative vortexes. So I'm going to put a link below. I do have a coupon code for you to use. If you are interested in those, you can save 10% with that coupon code. It's 10% find your Fiji. So that is a way to handle clearing physical objects. Another thing that I want to share with you, another tip, is around ashes. And some of you have heard me talk about this before, but I think it bears repeating for those who haven't. Ashes, whether they are from a loved one or a pet, are not living energy. Okay. And ideally, they should not be kept in your home. I really, really strongly encourage you to release them, bury them or release them, and instead keep photos of your loved one or your pet where they can remind you of their living energy, right? So while they were alive. If you do have ashes in your home, I have a blog, I have a couple videos that I encourage you to watch to find out what to do with them, because there's certain places in the home they should not be. I'm not going to go into all of that here because I do already have videos on that. There is also a special Feng Shui cure if you're keeping ashes in the home that I share with my Love Your Life members in this circumstance. It just helps protect you and your loved ones. So just be aware that there are other things that you can do as well. So that's what I have for you today. To continue this journey of removing your blocks to flow, there's going to be a third video that's coming out soon in a couple days, and that one will be unblocking your flow with the 5 elements. And then also make sure to register for one of the live master classes on either May 15th or May 22nd. They're free. They're live, and you'll have an opportunity to ask questions there. So if any questions have come up for you as you've been watching these videos, write them down because you can bring them to that live masterclass. We'll see you soon.